course, a big part of our focus is going to be in Bloemfontein today. A memorial service for the 3 police constables whose bodies were retrieved from the Hennops River in Centurion is set to take place at Bobbies Park in Bloemfontein today. Police Commissioner Fannie Masemola as well as State Premier Maqueen Letsoha-Mathae are among those who are expected to be in attendance. Our senior reporter Chriselda Lewis is already there and she joins us now live from Bloemfontein, where all of this is likely to take place. And it's an incredibly difficult time for the families who you've spoken to, Chriselda. I imagine as they hope to get closure, they also still have so many lingering questions around what might have happened.
Well, that's right, Ayanda. The memorial service is expected to get underway at midday here at Bobbies Park in Bloemfontein. And amongst the dignitaries that you mentioned, we're also expecting the Deputy Minister of Police, Polly Bushielo, who we understand will be landing in Bloemfontein this morning. And indeed, you know, since the police officers went missing in April, there have been many questions about what really happened. You'd recall that when an investigation had been instituted after they'd been reported missing, many questions about what could have happened. At the time, we only had the identity of the kind of vehicle that the police officers had been travelling in. So there'd been a mammoth task and investigations that started into finding the bodies of the missing constables as well as the vehicle that they'd been travelling in. You'd recall first, Ayanda, it was the bodies that were retrieved from the Hennops River, and that news was broken to the families, that lingered on to hope since April that their loved ones would be found alive, but unfortunately that was not to be. Police having confirmed that their remains had been found in the Hennops River, and then just a couple of days later the retrieval of that vehicle from the very same river. They've been given indications that perhaps something might have taken place at that particular location, because you'd recall at the first instance, when we had got to the scene, police forensics had managed to secure some evidence relating to some parts of the VW Polo. However, we went on a search together with police divers, for days in the Hennops River, and towards another part of the river. That's where they managed to secure or to retrieve the front and the rear bumper of what they believed at the time would be this VW Polo. They had to do quite a number of tests, including looking at the data dots, comparing them to the VIN number to see if indeed it was the vehicle. Unfortunately, it was confirmed that indeed that was the vehicle. A couple of hours later, we went on a search, Ayanda, to one of the locations where the divers had found a big metal just underneath the debris, stuck in the river. We did not find anything there, and hopes certainly were not dashed, because then a couple of hours later, this was last week, the first part of the body of this vehicle had been retrieved, and it was a crucial part of the evidence that police were looking for. You would know, Ayanda, that investigations would need to go into looking at the vehicle. What was found also inside there was some of the belongings belonging to some of the deceased constables, including a handbag, some keys, a book, and I'm talking about a police book, a car book, was also found inside this particular vehicle. This was after it had been retrieved, and police then confirming indeed that that was the body of the vehicle that these police officers had been travelling in. But the back part of this vehicle had been missing, Ayanda, and on Saturday, this is where divers retrieved the back part or the boot of this particular vehicle. So, while the pieces of this puzzle are coming together, Ayanda, there are still many lingering questions. Speaking to the family this morning, and this is the family of the late Constable Linda, they say there's still many answers that they're looking for. There's so many questions that are lingering, as you pointed out, but key for them is, if it is being said, and this is what General Fannie Masemola, who is the National Police Commissioner, had indicated. He indicated that preliminary investigations suggest that the vehicle had capsized before plummeting into the Hennops River. The families want to know what happened before the vehicle capsized. Let's take a listen to what Sipho Linda, the uncle of the late Constable Linda, told me this morning.
We still have questions. We have questions because at first this was reported as a hijacking or kidnapping. then we were told, no, it was an accident. And the way the accident happened, we believe it was an accident. But what led to the accident? That's what we want to know. What led to the accident? Because knowing my son, he was very careful. I mean, he wouldn't drive from Bloemfontein to the scene if he was negligent, you know. And why was he driving on the far left? And then there were questions, or there was talk about the car capsizing before it landed into the river. What led to that? And if the car capsized, I mean, somebody must have seen it, you know. So we still have questions, but for now, we are allowing ourselves time to grieve and lay them to rest. And then we'll await the police to come to us and give us a full report. Then we still have questions, you know, to the police as to exactly what happened, what led to the accident.
Well, Ayanda, that was Sipho Linda, who is the uncle of the late Constable Tebekulu Linda. And I think those are the sentiments that are shared by most of the families. While they say that, you know, they do believe it was an accident, what happened before that accident? They still want further details about what could possibly have happened in this instance. So those questions still linger while these constables are being remembered here in Bloemfontein today. We're expecting many tributes, including from the policing union pop crew, as well as the various dignitaries that are making their way to Bloemfontein to come and remember these constables.